es la voz de LA. It's like una galaxiana, come and kick it with us. I bring the bossa nova beats and talk the club that we love. Another year to adjust, and Will Coons we all trust. 6 titles in the cabin, tell a hater shut up. Mirar al horizonte con el cielo morado. Llegamos al estadio como siempre lo hago. Es la nueva temporada, ya cumplí 30 años. Rezándole a San Pequi que no dé al travesaño. Que repartan los balones y no sean tacaños. Que regrese el contraataque y que le hagamos daño. Un saludo para Robert, hermanos ecuatorianos. Que la táctica de Ananda nunca sean en vano. Si se trata de mi gala me levanto temprano. Ver el fur en verano, en el pasto tumbado. Siempre estoy a tu lado, en cualquier resultado. Vamos Galaxy, on top is where I gotta be. Chilling in the canopy, staging like a winery. Goals during rivalries, brew from the refinery. Only want the finer things, we letting you know. Lo que pasa en la galaxia, ready, let's start the show.
Hello, hola, and buenas, and welcome back to another episode of La Cuna Galaxiana, a humble little podcast always made with love for all you LA Galaxy fans and all you La Cuna Galaxians, wherever you may be, aka you Cuneros out there. Thank you so much for hanging out with us for another episode. And you know what? We are so pleased to be here. We're just a couple of shows away now from show 200. We're at 191, and we wouldn't have made it without any of you guys. So thank you so much for being here and for listening to this show today. 10th time's the charm, maybe, as the LA Galaxy will host the Portland Timbers at the Digs this weekend, Sunday, April 27th. Still looking for the first win of the season and to bring some joy to the fans at home. These teams have already met this year, a 1-1 tie in Portland that the Galaxy got lucky to escape with a point from. But now, LA will look to take what they learned in that first encounter to try to get an advantage over the Timbers and earn their first victory of the MLS season. We'll explore how Portland got even more dangerous if the Galaxy defense can play a clean game, if the offense can create and finish their chances, and if the Galaxy can finally put it all together and get 3 points in front of the home crowd. Plus, the Galaxy will try another giveaway this weekend. This time, it's everyone's favorite alien, and we'll let you know how to get them. All that and more coming up on La Cuna Galaxiana tonight. But before we go any further, let me introduce myself. I'm one of your co-hosts, Rob Halon. You can find my written work at Extra Time Talk and at the Sporting Tribune, and you can find me online at El Escudero de LA. And then, of course, the Cosmopolitan one sits just to my right. Anandita Kirana coming back at you from an undisclosed location in the world. El papá de Natita, el yerno guapo. ¿Qué se dice?
Well, first of all, I got to say that you called me the Cosmopolitan one, but remember, guys, don't forget that this guy did a show from the Galapagos. He did a show from Mexico, and he wants to call me the Cosmopolitan one. So just got to get that one out there. You know, we all do our part. We all need a break, a vacation from life, and you know, just a little recharge of the batteries. So just had to put that one out there. But no, secondly, just ready for this damn team to get a win, Papa. Just ready for this damn team to get 3 points. And you know, we put it in the title of this show, which is this a must-win game for the Galaxy? We're gonna explore that a little bit later as we preview this match. But the more and more I start thinking about it, it's mathematically not, but boy, it's the closest definition probably to a must-win without being a must-win, given just the chatter around the team, the what's going on, and the math, and the fact that we're doing math, 9 games in the season and all that good stuff. But let's jump into all that. But yeah, that's going to be the main sentiment of today, is like how badly the Galaxy need this win.
No, I reject the question, and here's why. Yes, we're 9 games in the season. People are already doing math, but it's the question for me is moot, because mathematically it's not a must win. We've already covered this. I mean, it's not a must win until mathematically, they need every single point in which they're facing off for. or else they're out of the playoffs. That's what the criteria is for me. Spoiler alert, but we'll get there. Maybe I'm just a little bit curmudgeonly
We'll get
today.
there. I've got a rebuttal to that, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
Okay, well, y'all heard it here. He has a rebuttal. Let's get there in a little bit. But yeah, we want to say thank you to all you guys once again for doing what you do and listening to this pod, and telling all your friends about this pod. Ananda keeps on telling me this troubling stat or fact that 1/3 y'all don't subscribe to this pod that listen. It's very easy. Just go ahead and take the plunge, dear hearts. Take the plunge, hit that button, hit that subscribe, and you can catch a little bit more of this humble little pod that's coming at you from undisclosed locations and also just Glendale. Anyway, go ahead and keep on telling folks. We're on the march to 600, and thank you so much for getting us to 500 and getting us the ability to get some super chats, which you guys are using to get your brilliant questions in there, your comments in there. So go ahead. If you got something to get off your chest, you got something to say, you have some questions to go ahead and throw at me and Ananda, go ahead and get your super chat in there. And of course, now Ananda is going to tell you how you can stalk him. Yeah, I mean, has anybody stalked you yet in 3 years? But anyway, before he tells you how to stalk him, go ahead and check out the that breakaway pod, that interview I did with Michele Giannone. Really, really interesting stuff that he talked about. I mean, he already kind of broke, some scoops here and letting us know that it's not out of the realm of possibility that LA Galaxy head coach go to Toronto, or maybe his future is in Toronto. Anyway, stuff like that. So go ahead and check that one out. And now, without further ado, Anandita, go ahead and hit him.
Well, I want to go back to that point because I listened to it as of course in the premiere, and I'm just glad he agreed with me on one thing, which is something that you pushed back on me on, and maybe you thought it was unfair that I brought it up, but the fact that Greg and the LA Galaxy created their own goalkeeping controversy, and Michele was quick to point that out. So I'm glad someone from the outside that doesn't have their blinders on, that doesn't have their blue and white tinted glasses on, is looking at it in kind of a similar vein. And that's what I was saying, Papa. So I thought that was probably the most interesting thing, other than, of course, the Greg Vanny thing. I think he brought out some interesting things. So guys, all to say, please take a listen to that. Rob did a great job getting Michele on, and he was gracious enough to, donate 30-40 minutes of his time. And I think there was a lot of really interesting insights. He talked about some comments that, because he's in the studio with Gio Savarese, an ex-coach. He talked about some of the comments that he told him in the green room in terms of Vanny's situation. So check it out, guys. It's a really, really interesting listen. So shout out to you, Papa. That was nicely done, and hopefully we'll get more of that content out for you guys as well, getting as many analysts and reporters and stuff like that in a sort of one-on-one setting. Man, would love to do that in studio at some point. That's
definitely.
That's when we're ballers and really living our cosmopolitan lives.
What one day, who knows? When Kobe hits the lotto, bro, it's it's all good for everybody. Breaking everybody off a little bit.
Like I love LeBron's pod that he does with Nash, like the Mind the Game. Like they're just sipping on a glass of wine, chilling in a studio. Oh, that's beautiful stuff. We'll get there. Anyways,
one day the production value will hopefully be there.
But until then, you guys can always follow me, block me, or stalk me at Anana Galaxiana. And of course, you can find this humble little pod at Lacuna Galaxiana is the handle and the tag there. Rob talked about the subs. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button, guys. Hit the notification button so you guys know when we're on live. And of course, smash those likes up. That's always going to help the show. Rob talked about another way of helping the show. If you do want to get your question read, or just want to, just help donate to this humble little pod, go ahead and hit the super chats, guys, to get the 6th super chat to signify those 6 MLS Cups. Because the 7th is at this point far in the galaxy, far away, in the current state of this club. But of course, Papa, Como siempre, antes de olvidarme, buenos días,
Dale.
tardes o noches, and bienvenidos a otro
There it
capítulo
is.
de La Cuna Galaxiana. And before I turn it to you, just want to say what's up to everyone in chat. One and only Rocio, Raul G, Scott, Big Heck out in the IE. What's up? What's up, guys? And Hector says,
IEGs represent.
are we gonna win Sunday? Well, we'll get to it in our predictions. Finally, 3
Mm.
points. Yeah. And one and only
Minus
Rocio
one
says
first.
it's a must win for team morale. Ooh, we'll get there.
Yeah, I mean, that's something to consider as well. Like, varying degrees of victories, but yes, you're right. We will get there. Excuse me. So something that happened in Galaxy Ananda the other day, that was pretty impactful, and for all that I've been around the team, coming up as a youngster, supporting the team, and then starting to cover the team, I kind of ashamed to say I was ignorant of this man, and after learning more about him, I'm just really bummed that I never got to meet him or got to interact with him. But I think it was Sunday that Julio Tranquilo Davila drew his last, and he played his final match on this earth. On this earth, and he was a longtime member of the LA Galaxy family. He's pictured here with Greg, ya de veterano aquí, con respeto al señor, and that just tells you how long he had been around. I mean, there's pictures of him looking very young and spry and being around the Galaxy, and here he's pictured with the World Cup. He's pictured with Pele and some other photos. So I mean, this guy did a lot for the Galaxy organization and soccer as a whole. His official function was a referee liaison for the club, and so the family right now is doing a GoFundMe. So you guys can catch that at GoFundMe. Oh, sorry, GoFund.me/CE5AD4FB. I know Ananda will go ahead and clip that, put that in chat. Do what he does, so you guys can go ahead and help support the family. And true G's, man. Once a G, always a G. And yeah, I was on I was on Soccer in 60 again yesterday, Ananda, and Philly, who everybody knows as an LAFC fan or part of the LAFC tribe, made sure to take time out and call out Tranquilo for the longevity and what he meant to the Galaxy family. So it was not only Galaxy family that was paying their respects, but rivals as well. So que en paz descanse. May his memory be a blessing to the family, and to all G's, an example of how to be. But yeah, man, we spoke about it the other day, Ananda, and like I told you the other day, I didn't really know too much about him, and now that I know, I'm just like, damn. You're always learning something about your club, right? And it's wonderful to have these characters in your club's history. So, en paz descanse. We have birthdays to get to. Zanka, it was his birthday yesterday. He turned 34. We also have our favorite Roldan, Cesar's birthday. He turned 33 on Tuesday. And I mean I mean that with kind of tongue in cheek, but there was some anger at the other Roldans last year in wake of Riqi's injury. But anyway, happy birthday to Cesar Roldan. Ananda, it's playoff time for at least two LA teams. The Kings kicked off their playoff series against the Oilers the other day, and here's my representing and John Nelson representing. They lead that series 2-0. Game 3 is tomorrow at 7 p.m. And of course, turn away fans of the show that are Clippers fans, but the Lakers Wolves series is tied 1-1. Game 3 is tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. We have Marco Reus here pictured in that Kobe jersey. I don't know how I feel about this one, Ananda. To be honest, man. Any comment
On Royce on Royce or on the Lakers or
I
sorry,
mean,
man. I was trying to throw some shade at the Clippers, but they're up 100-78 right now in the Nuggets, so no shade thrown there.
oh no, I mean, hey, it's I don't begrudge
Nothing but
them.
love, man. Shout out, be love. Shout out, be love.
Yeah, I don't begrudge them their victories, man. Just not against the Lakers. But anyway, we'll keep moving here. Good luck to all the LA teams in the playoffs here. And there are a couple of ticket packs coming up for this weekend's match. It's youth night. You can go ahead and get a Cosmo pencil pouch. The first 250 ticket packs sold. Go ahead and get that pencil pouch. It's also Armenian Heritage Celebration. You can go ahead and get this lovely hat. First 750 ticket packs sold. Get this hat. This one is fire. I know a couple of the homies here in Glendale would definitely rock this one. It is now time to talk about giveaways, Ananda. These are part of ticket packs, right? But now we're talking about giveaways. We're talking about practice. So recently there was a giveaway at the digs, the 2024 replica rings, which was deemed not a success by one and all. The club even put out statements. I think they acknowledged as well that it was something to learn from and that they want to go ahead and try to kind of shore up these kind of things. So in the wake of all that and just the anger that was displayed by fans, they put out a kind of guidelines and rules for the Cosmo bobblehead giveaway. First off, there are only 5,000 available, so if you want to snag one of these, make sure and be there very, very early, so you can go ahead and grab your Cosmo bobblehead. But the Galaxy, in this case, I believe, are doing what they can to go ahead and get this information out there. Not only have they put it on their socials, but they disseminated this information in their Galaxy weekly newsletter that all season ticket members get. I'm not sure if people that aren't season ticket members get this newsletter as well, but I do know that this one goes out in mass. So they are trying to get this information out here that it is a first come, first served giveaway, one giveaway item per person. Vouchers are available for pickup at the Tennis Stadium. Gates for season ticket members open at 4:15 p.m. and then for everybody else at 4:30 p.m. The Galaxy's statement here is match day giveaways are one of the many ways the Galaxy show appreciation for the fans who stand by the club no matter the result. Giveaways are meant to commemorate the occasion and make an exciting match day fan experience even more special. We always aim to distribute giveaways with the fan experience and employee safety in mind. So I guess all I can say about this one, guys, is that at least the Galaxy are trying to be proactive and trying to keep it a little bit more organized this time. And then on the fan side, because again, last time there was problems with that the previous giveaway. I saw some of y'all G's out there acting a fool. I'm not gonna lie. So keep it 100 on your side as well, fans. And I think it should be a little bit easier to go ahead and navigate this. And the Galaxy have said that it is a work in progress. They're trying to go ahead and figure out the best solution for these kind of things, because pretty soon there will be another giveaway for replica ring night, and that one is also going to get nutty. But like I mentioned, Ananda, it's kudos to them for trying to get this information out there and letting people know, hey, if you want this bobblehead, this is the way to do it. These are the rules, and I mean, hopefully it goes a lot more smoothly this time. But I think that at least the information is out there. So they culminated by saying, we're committed to making this better and better every time. So we'll continue to review the process and make adjustments over time. And that's, again, alluding to that this is probably not going to go perfectly either. However, they're going to take everything in stock and try to make the experience better, bit by bit. Hopefully, like I mentioned, they'll get it figured out. But for anybody that actually does try to go and snag this bobblehead, go ahead and reach out to us and let us know what that experience was like. I'd be very curious to find out what you see, if you see kind of this process run smoothly, or if it kind of falls off the rails, kind of like it did with the last one. Yeah, get at us. Let us know. Hit a comment. Hit us in the DM. Anyway, moving along here, there is the Cuatro de Mayo pub crawl coming up. Join the Galaxy on May 4th in Long Beach on 2nd Street for their annual pub crawl. This one kicks off at Supermax or Murphy's Pub at noon, and then you get a pub crawl punch card when you get there, and then you can go ahead and go to a bunch of different locations on 2nd Street and get your card punched. If you get 4 card punches and you get a card punch by getting a Modelo, then you get a t-shirt, a commemorative Long Beach Galaxy Crawl t-shirt. And this one ends at Legends, where there'll be an official LA Galaxy watch party for LA at Sporting Kansas City, and that one kicks off at 4 p.m. Some really good Long Beach places in here, so go ahead and catch that. 1-2 Threads is dropping more heat as they usually do, coming out with this strong message, Ananda. Real G's don't jump ship, we weather the storm, and they have this clipper ship here on the back of this t-shirt. Real G's don't jump ship. This is a collab tee with 96, and it's available on the 1-2 Threads website right now. Ananda, we are now less than a month away from El Tráfico, the first one of the year. I feel like this year they have taken on a little bit more of significance. They're not playing 3 or 4 of them this year. They're just playing the home and away legs, so they're bound to mean more this year. Neither team is doing that great. Of course, the Galaxy are in a significantly worse position. However, in terms of where this matchup was at last year, it takes some of the shine off of this one. But this one goes down on May 18th, Sunday, May 18th at the Digs, the first El Tráfico of the season. Go ahead and get your tickets for that one, or else se venden. You know they will. Después van a estar. ¿A dónde puedo conseguir boletos? You've seen it happen. You've seen it happen. So, yeah, ending here on announcements, Ananda, with Star Wars Night happening on May 31st versus RSL. Joseph Paintsill will be the bobblehead, repping real hard like Mace Windu with purple lightsaber and the Ryzen kit. Man, I don't know how I can get my hands on this one, but definitely this one needs to wind up in my hands somehow, some way. Tell your kids, tell your wife, somebody hook me up. Somebody. This one is real hard, Nanda. This one is a course for repping real hard on, like the May the 4th be with you month. So the Galaxy end the month with the JP bobblehead. Going ahead and shifting to some news, your VCFC update. They lost 3-2 at home at the Willie Rolled Portland Timbers 2. Gage Guerra scored a hattie for Portland. He made it 1-0 in the first half, and then Asel Esenia, he ties it right at the end of the first half at 1, but then Guerra came out and scored 2 goals in 6 minutes in the 49th and the 56th, and basically put the game out of reach. Ruben Ramos Jr. scored the Galaxy's second, but they could not find the third, and they slumped to defeat at home. They are now in third place with 12 points, 6 games played with the 4-2-0 record. They next play Vancouver Whitecaps on April 27th at 4 p.m. on the road. A bit of sunshine after a bunch of rain, Ananda. Riqui Puig, the sweet prince who was promised. Look at him looking all dapper. I love it. Pero míralo. Mira ese pelo. Hostia, tío. Sheesh. Hey, I want someone to look at me like Ricky's looking off into the sunset, Ananda. This is this is movie star stuff right here, man. So you see here that Ricky's doing his rehab, his work. I mean, just putting in the work to get back to where uh he wants to be, the club wants him to be, before he resumes some training. One in the real CL says missing Ricky. Yeah, I think the entire team, by evidence, by the stats, and the what's happening on the field. I think they're all missing him. But it's good to see him out and doing the work. And I really do think it's good for him to be around the team right now, as he's ramping up this rehab. Ananda, just it's not great to be isolated, and then he's already in and around the group right now, so that when he comes back, it's not like he's missing anything. Spiritually, he's just there, and he's participating emotionally. So until he gets there physically, at least he's present in some manner. But really good to see him out there. Forza Riqui, tú puedes. Ananda, what would you tell him in Catalan if you could? Well, you're muted. So
Yep. I don't know why. Uh, I would tell him Forza Canu, but that means something else. Yeah, just Forza, man. Like we need him back. We need him back, and it's good to have that emotional. I told you he's the emotional engine of this team, proving out to be this season. It's good to have him around the boys.
yeah, definitely. And uh, he definitely would have enjoyed the scrap that happened after the LA Galaxy versus Austin. There was that post game scuffle. I know that a bunch of you guys saw it. There was even some concerns of Galaxy players being uh, banned for a couple of games for punches thrown. Well, that did not come to pass. No suspensions. And Galaxy players got lucky on that front, but there were some fines, so they're hitting them in the wallet here. The MLS disciplinary committee has issued official warnings to both coaches, Nico Estevez and Greg Vanny, for violating the league's mass confrontation policy. And then Guillermo Brito, Danny Pereira, Diego Rubio, Eric Zavaleta, Joseph Painso, and Mateus Nascimento also picked up fines for inciting and or escalating that mass confrontation. I mean, really, there was way more people out there that could have picked up fines. I mean, at this point, you just let everybody off the hook. I think, Ananda. But anyway, it's good that there'll be no suspensions, and it's because the Galaxy need everybody for this match coming up. I mean, they're finally starting to get their players back. The only injuries that they have at the moment are the pictured Riqui Puig, the Prince who was promised, who you saw working hard to get back to where he wants to be, and Maya Yoshida, who let's face it, there it was thought initially that hamstring injury was not going to be that bad, but ends up being a little bit more serious than he or Greg Vanny think. He is now slated to come back sometime in mid-May. Of course, we'll get a little bit more information from Greg tomorrow at media availability. We'll see what he has to say about where Maya Yoshida stands, and yeah, I mean, potentially see what he has to say about Riqui, about Ricky's timeline. I mean, we've heard August, we've heard September. I mean, Greg's said October at one point at the very, very beginning of the year. So we'll try to get a little bit more clarity. But the fact remains that these two players will not be available for the Galaxy's next match at home against Portland. But let's look at where both these teams stand going into this match. After 9 matches, the Galaxy holds a 0-6-3 record with 6 goals for and 16 against. 3 points, 0.33 points per game, -10 goal difference. 15th place and last place, still the only team yet to win a game in the Western Conference. One of 2 teams not to win a game in the league. But the Galaxy has a worse score differential than Montreal, so they are dead last in the Supporter Shield at the moment. This team is a team that has no clean sheets on the year, and it has only scored 3 goals in their last 5 matches. Yeah, it's not a pretty sight. Portland, on the other hand, is doing significantly better, showing a lot of verve in the last couple matches. After 9 matches played, they have a 4-2-3 record, 16 goals for, 13 against, 15 points, 1.67 points per game, with a +3 goal differential, good enough for 4th in the Western Conference. They are unbeaten in 6 games, starting with that 1-1 draw that they played against the Galaxy on March 16th. Since then, they have not tasted defeat. And like I mentioned, they've scored 13 goals in their last 5 matches. So that offense is purring and turning over at the moment. They scored 3 goals or more in 4 of their last 5 matches, Ananda. So not only are they scoring for fun, but they're scoring for fun consistently. Kind of like the Galaxy last year, who were scoring 3 or 4 goals multiple matches in a row. They did drop some points against LAFC at home in their last match. They played to a 3-3 tie. That one was tied up in the last moments of the match by LAFC, or else Portland runs away with a really, really good game. Not to be they pick up a 4-2 win away before that match. And like I mentioned, just in general, the offense has been really, really great for them. However, Phil Neville, their coach, isn't entirely impressed by his own side. He says that they've been limited to transition moments for their attacking effectiveness, and they're most consistent when they're in those transition moments. Total XG allowed through 8 games is 11.5. Good for just the 10th best defense in the West. Bottom third of the league overall with those figures. Ananda, I'm going to leave this one to you because I know how much you love it. Let's get into MLS power rankings.
Power rankings? Well, the Galaxy suck. 30th place. There we go. Pretty simple. Pretty simple power ranking.
Those are hurtful words. We try to use more constructive language.
I mean, it's, Galaxy are not a good team this year. And yeah, I mean, power rankings. Woohoo.
I know you love them. That's why I always bring them
Yep.
up. All right. Well, your question at the top of the show of, is this a must-win match? Again, I refute the question. Mathematically, it is not a must-win match. And that's pretty much how I feel about it. But you said you had a rebuttal, so just reminding you.
Well, but my rebuttal was, I mean, we talked about what, a few games ago, 5 games ago, 6 games ago. Is it panic stations yet? No, we're good. Okay. Another loss. We hitting panic button yet? No, we're good. We'll get a win. Next game. Oh, we are we near this yet? Is this thing gonna turn around? No, we get another L. All right, next game. So it's kind of one of those things where maybe again, this is going back to resting on our laurels and being content, right? And yes, mathematically, I agree with you. This isn't a must-win game, but you can't dig yourself such big of a hole. It's at this. We're almost 10 games in. We're almost a third of the season, and we don't have a win, right? So I think I go back to the point that Rocio made very aptly, which is for the morale of this team, for the confidence to this team, they need to break through. They need to break through because, as we've seen before in the past, whether it's for a winning streak or a losing streak, momentum is a real big thing in this league, right? It's very, for example, the momentum, the losing streak that we have now, or the not winning streak that we have now, it can just as easily turn into a really hot stretch down into the playoffs, the last 10 games, as Greg likes to aptly put it. And you can make a really, really deep playoff run, right? But you can't dig yourself such big of a hole in the beginning of the season that pressure starts mounting, And when that pressure mounts, you know what happens, Rob? We miss chances. We miss chances inside the box. We get, as even Michele pointed out in your interview with him, Gabby Peck feels more pressure on him that he has to carry the team. And you know what happens once he gets a big chance? He misses it. He fluffs his lines. The nervousness, the pressure, the anxiety gets to some of these players, and that's
It's
not
my
the
anxiety.
that's not what you want, right? So yes, mathematically it's not a must-win game, but I think we need to now not hit the panic button, but hit the urgency button. We need a high sense of urgency now with this team. And if you look at this, and I'm going to pull up the schedule again for the next really 7 into the month of May. We've got this match in Portland, but look at that stretch, Rob, in May. May, to me, is going to be the decider, even this early on. That maybe this is I don't want to call it a hot take, but it's a take in the fact that coming out of May, we will know if this team will be a playoff team or not. Because you look at that schedule, Rob. Okay, we start with Portland, and then a 3-game roadie at Kansas City. That's going to be the Dejan Joveljic revenge game, I'm sure. At New York, right? Which is a rematch of MLS Cup, and Philadelphia, who are a really good team this year in the Eastern Conference. They're in the top 4. And then you look at how we finish out the month, Rob. 3 Clásicos in a row, huge games that have a lot of implications, not only in terms of banter, in terms of bragging rights, but in terms of the standings. We're at home to LAFC in El Tráfico. We play the whatever Clásico you want to call it down the I-5 in San Diego, right? We want that revenge match. And then, of course, we close it out with a Cali Clásico against the San Jose team, who are not pushovers this year. They are a very good team. And you know that we always have trouble, and those are always feisty games. So you look at that schedule and you say, look, I'd rather get into the month of May with at least a point. I'd rather prefer 3 points because momentum carries over. And I don't want to go into a 3-game roadie, carrying on bad momentum and this team being completely shot on confidence. Because then you look at May and you're like, where are you going to get the points? Where are we going to get the points? Right?
Well, there's
It's daunting.
21 points there. How many do you think they pick up out of 21? Or how much out of 21 do they need to pick up?
I mean, they need to pick up more than 10. Can't be in the single digits. They need to pick up double-digit points. They need to at this point. Yeah, I think they need to pick up at least 10, in my opinion. That's 3 wins and a draw. And that's based off of this team's current form. Where do you find? But again, as I said, if we get our first win, there could be a watershed moment. And then that momentum carries over because now we start figuring out how to win games. Because one thing is the performance levels, but another thing is just as a team, as a collective, how do we get the 3 points, guys? How do we manage games? Game management, right? How do we, get those breakthrough moments from Gabby Peck, from our DPs, etc. So again, this is a big match against Portland, in my opinion. Huge.
XPH, our good friend, executive producer, with the first super chat of the day. He says, "Hey Rob, hi Nanda. Nanda, how do you feel about FIFA rankings? It's well known how you feel about MLS power rankings. LOL. He loves those MLS power rankings. But how do you feel about FIFA rankings? XPH wants to know."
Honestly, I don't even pay that much attention to them either. I think a lot of it, there's a lot of bias behind it. Of course, the big countries are going to have the better rankings, and the thing about those World Cup teams, or sorry, those international teams too, there's a lot of turnover. There's a lot of generational things that happen, and sometimes, like for example, Belgium had its golden generation, and they're probably going to fizzle out now. Based off of their Dries Mertens, Kevin De Bruyne, those guys. So it's like there's going to be a lot of movement there, but I don't really pay attention to it because, like for example, heading into the Euro Cup or Eurocopa last year, like Spain wasn't. I mean, they weren't like one of the top rated teams. I don't believe. I could be wrong about that. I mean, I don't really pay attention to them, but going into it, the chatter was that they weren't the favorite and they came out being the winner. So I don't pay that much attention to it either. I think it's just more chatter and stuff for us to chew on in the peanut gallery.
The rankings for FIFA are pretty weird, pretty screwy at times.
Yeah.
Especially when you have teams that are traditional powerhouses that aren't really doing well, they still stay in the top of the rankings. It's really weird. However, we have another super chat here from our good friend Adam. He says, will the Galaxy get their first win before El Tráfico game? Let's go ahead and bring up that schedule once again, Ananda, and go ahead and look at this with un poquito más de fundamento. Let's see here, and disregard these times here because our mate Ananda is the Cosmopolitan one, and he's in an undisclosed location in his private island in Fiji at the moment. So yeah, I mean, you're right. If the Galaxy don't pick up this win against Portland at home, Dejan Joveljic is a bad man, and he's going to score a couple goals on the Galaxy. I feel it. I know it.
Sporting KC hasn't been kind to us. We got that breakthrough win. I think that was the stat, right? Last year, that was our first win in 5 years at SKC or something like that. Just a crazy, like those crazy, like breaking the hex stats. But right, and then away to New York. That's an MLS Cup final, by the way. One and only Rosia says, anyone here going to New York? Well, these two lads that you're watching on your screen.
That's a rumor. That's a rumor.
Are rumored to be there. It's in the
rumor. That's cat. Who knows? It may be. It's we can neither attest to or refute the validity of that statement. But however, who knows? We may see there. But anyway, after this Portland match, if they don't pick that one up, day on revenge tour. New York's a tough match. Philadelphia's a tough match, and then it's El Tráfico. It's honestly, Adam, it's not inconceivable they don't pick up a victory through that entire stretch. I mean, it is a monster stretch in which they're playing midweek matches on the East Coast, having to travel back home across the country and playing very emotionally charged El Tráfico. It's a tough stretch, but like Ananda said, it's going to show us who this team is and if they're actually going to put up a fight and make the playoffs. If they can get through May, then they will be able to get through the being Riqui-less and getting into the playoffs and kind of keeping their head above water until Riqui gets back. But if they can't navigate May, then it's kind of done and over with. And something interesting that Michele and I spoke about, or that he brought up actually, is that there's two schools of thought here, right? At least in the way that he sees it. Mathematically, it's not a must win, but it's getting there. You're very right. It's not a, hey, we need to panic, but we need to have urgency. There will come a moment where mathematically the Galaxy are eliminated if they continue on this slide. At that point, Michele brought up two interesting propositions. You either say, hey, we are in a position to go on a run here, and let's go ahead and tell Riqui, like, hey, it doesn't seem like you're going to be back in time. We have an opportunity to go on a run, and they put Riqui on the season-ending injury list, and they go ahead and pick up that DP for the year and go on the run. The other scenario is that they are mathematically eliminated at one point, in which case you don't want to rush Riqui back anyway. There's really no point in trying to get them back. If, say, Ananda, they go through May, and out of those 21 points, they pick up 4 or 5. And it's just looking more and more dire. Technically, it's not out of the realm of possibility that you're looking at being mathematically eliminated by July or something like that, right? So at that point, why even rush your? Let's face it, like Michele said, probably in the top 2-3 players of the best in the league. So anyway, it's going to be tough. Adam, all I can say is I really hope that they do. I really hope that they start that trend this weekend against Portland. The last match was encouraging. We'll tell you about it here in a second. So the last match of the weekend kicks off at 6 p.m. The Galaxy versus Portland. It'll be their 40th meeting across all competitions, with LA leading the all-time series 15, 14, and 10. Against Portland, they hold a 14, 12, and 10 record in league play. In the last regular season match played between the two teams, the Galaxy earned a 1-1 draw against the Timbers at Providence Park just a little bit over a month ago on March 16th, 2025. The man I told you to be wary of, their danger man, Felipe Mora, scored the first goal of the match off a recycled set piece after David DaCosta got himself to the byline to set up Mora for the first time finish off the cross. However, late in the match, Zanka said, I'm going to pull out a over-the-top pass, pinpoint, hit Cristian Ramirez. Cristian Ramirez does well to bring that ball down, keep his composure, and slot home in the 81st to earn the Galaxy a 1-1 draw. There were penalty shouts from Portland for a foul on Amiro Garces in the dying moments of this match, and if I'm keeping it a buck, it was definitely a penalty. This is one that the Galaxy finally get lucky on, and they somehow, some way, Garces doesn't give up a penalty on this one. Something that Ananda brought up from the last time these two teams met, that one was a game of two halves. In possession, the Galaxy had 45% in the first half, 61% in the second half. So a vast discrepancy on the amount of the ball they saw. Passes in the opposition half. For Portland in the first half, 170, and then in the second half, 73. For the Galaxy in the first half, 130, and then that increases to 177 in the second half. Galaxy, two big chances in this one, and for only one big chance to Portland. And really, Ananda, it just goes to show you where the Galaxy really were at that moment, just not really creating too much. We already let you guys know just who was not going to be available for the Galaxy. But Portland actually takes advantage of the last moments of the transfer window to pick up Omir Fernandez from Colorado. Colorado receive $200K and 2025 donor allocation money and could get another $50K in conditional 2026 GAM. He's under contract now with Portland through 2026 with a club option for 2027. The 26-year-old is in his seventh MLS season after starting with the New York Red Bulls as a homegrown player. He has 21 goals and 180 appearances across all competitions. And at the top of the show, we told you just how much better this Portland team was going to be coming into this match. Well, they have a pretty decent, young, energetic player there through Omir Fernandez, but they also are getting vital pieces of this team back for this match, or some of these players have already come back. Jonathan Rodriguez, who scored a couple of goals on the Galaxy last year, he's coming back. Juan Mosquera, a very fine defender, coming back. Experienced goalkeeper Maxime Crepeau on his way back, and Miguel Araujo scored a couple of goals last year as well on his way back. So Portland has their full contingent at the moment. No one injured for them. Phil Neville has everybody to call on, and he has dangerous options to go ahead to pull out against the Galaxy. And really, at this point, you're asking yourself, how can the Galaxy withstand, or the Galaxy defense anyway, withstand this offense that's playing so well? Ananda, for some more context on that, well, what are you seeing out of this predicted starting lineups? What do you think Reg is going to throw at Portland here?
Yeah, really quick. So just wanted to give a quick shout out to Tranquilitos in the chat, Papa. That's El Hijo de Tranquilo. So, man, shout out to you, Papa. Que tu padre descanse en paz. Gracias por estar con nosotros. Condolencias, Papa. And yeah, thanks for being with us, man. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. So back to the predicted lineups. Let's see. I'll pull that up there. Yeah, I mean, so I pulled up here. This is the starting lineup for both teams. The last match, Papa, I can't remember. Did they start up in a? Because I'm looking at this 5-back or 3-back, however you want to see it. I can't remember if they started with a 5-back last time or a 4-back. I feel like it was a starting 4 in the defense, but I could be wrong about that. But anyways,
I'm
that kind
virtually
of
I'm virtually certain it was a starting 4-back the last time.
yeah. So I think that's an interesting little wrinkle there. Maybe that had to do with the opposition, LAFC, right? But who knows? Because we know that that was more of a counterattacking game. But I mean, I think the first thing I'm going to look at is what does Greg do at center back, Rob?
Yes.
Right?
4-2-3-1 was what they played in
Okay.
last time.
Okay. And of course, who knows what the game state and how it would have played out in actual play. But anyways, back to the sort of the roster or the starting 11 decisions. The first thing I'm looking at is center back. Does he put Zanka back into the fold again? You talked about, I guess the best side of Zanka that we saw away at Portland, right? Those clip balls over the top. He's very good at that. We knew coming in with the scouting report that he does get involved offensively, whether it's crashing into the box or whether that's playing those clip balls over the top and being really comfortable on the ball in possession, right? So I'm assuming he's going to come back in, but we'll see. And then the midfield, of course, it's always that sort of merry-go-round of, is it Isaiah Parente? Is he going to give Lucas another go at it? That's going to be interesting as well. Or maybe even Tucker Lepley, right? Who knows? Of course, we know that we like seeing Diego Fagundes. I remember Michele brought this up as well. He likes seeing Diego Fagundes in that number 10 position. Given that Riqui Puja's out, that's probably going to be the best chances for success for LA Galaxy and Greg Vanney's team. And yeah, other than that, I don't see any other big calls other than maybe, does he swap out Julian Aude for John Nelson, maybe get some more attacking prowess on that left-hand side, more combinations. We'll see. But yeah, I think the big one for me is what does he do at center back? I'm assuming though Zanka comes back in the fold.
When you were listening to the Michele interview, were you like, damn, he really does not like Marco Royce?
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting. But as an outsider looking in, I don't blame him, right? I mean, we're giving, of course the bias is there, but everyone's giving Drew like a similar amount of stick. Now, granted, he's a DP, but when you come in with that sort of pedigree and you don't perform, and on top of not performing, you don't show that, I guess, the work rate or the effort, more of a lackadaisical type of approach. I think that's what Michele is responding to as an outsider looking in, right? So I don't blame him. I don't blame the criticism. I want to give Marco the benefit of the doubt because he's an LA Galaxy player, but at a point, you need to start seeing performances, right? And so far, we haven't seen that. It'll be interesting too, I guess. But I think Diego's earned it. I think Diego, with his work rate, with his leadership, I think he's earned that starting spot so far, even though he doesn't have, other than an amazing curling free kick effort, he doesn't have much to show for it. But that's because this team is not a well-oiled machine right now at both ends of the pitch.
Yeah, you saw Diego various times on the wing at the beginning of the season. Yes, he has been playing in the team, but not in his quote-unquote natural position. We did ask him about where he felt more comfortable. He did let us know that it was there through the middle. He felt more connected. Greg says as well that he is a player that plays well in combination with others, so it just fits that number 10 role is the one for Diego. And I think really that when they get comfortable with each other and start to recognize each other again, that it'll get a little bit more fluid, especially with a player like Cristian Ramirez who can score but can also go ahead and carry the ball and create a little bit as well. Nana, you had some stats that you wanted to get into before we get into looking at who these Portland players are who could cause the Galaxy a little bit of havoc.
Yeah, just a quick look at sort of what this version or what the season's Portland team looks like. I think in the past, and we might bring this up, this might be a contributing factor in our predictions and how we look at this game, but usually a clash between both of these teams are a high-scoring game. I think a 1-1 was maybe a little bit more of a surprise because the other three before that, I mean, we pulled up the score lines earlier. This is a high-scoring team. So Is it the fact that, Portland is a really, really good offense this year? And I think, Rob, you alluded to it in the preview stats, which is they are, right? They're top 3 in goals per match at 1.8 goals per match this season. But if you look at the underlying stats, they're not that impressive, right? You look at XG over there on the right, 23rd in the league at 10.8.
Yeah.
But then again, they've scored more goals than their output suggests, right? And so I look at those stats, and what I chalk this up to is, if you see a high goal output with a low XG, that means that they're converting at a very high clip, they're finishing very clinically, and their attacking line is confident. And you see it a little bit of a sign of that in the shots on target per match, top 10 in the league at 4.8. So when they do get a shot, it is usually on target, right? It's at a high clip, and more often than not, it looks like the conversion rate's really high. It's, you know, they're averaging top 3 in the league in goals per match, so their conversion rate's really high. So that's one of the things. It's like, it'll be interesting to see if that confidence now will flow through. And, should I be scared every time Portland gets in the box, because their conversion rate's really good right now, and they don't, because they don't create that many chances. I mean, the Galaxy are in the bottom of the league as well in XG. We know our offensive struggles, but it's interesting to see the high attacking output. So I guess throughout the year we'll see if that regresses or not. But right now they're finishing at a really good clip. You look at it on the defense side of the ball for Portland, they have 3 clean sheets this year, so not a bad defensive team at all. If they need to shut it down, they know how to do that. Actually conceded, they're in they're again, the defensive numbers aren't that like totally impressive. Top 10 in actually conceded. That means they're in the bottom third of actually conceded. So they do concede enough chances. And I think we've seen that, recently they've been involved in a couple high scoring games, right, Rob? But the one thing that's interesting on this is, of course, I don't know if you talked about it earlier, but Maxime Crepeau is not. That's usually who we attribute their goalkeeper to, but this year it's a guy, James Pantemis, who's their new starting keeper. And man, he's been performing really well this year, Rob. Top 5 in saves per match at 3.8. So he's been really doing a good job. And here's an interesting stat for you. Portland has the most conceded penalties in the league at 5. And guess what? Pantemis has saved 3 of them. So
Damn.
So he's putting up the numbers, man. He's doing really well for that team. Speaking of danger men, right? That's a guy that we got to watch out on the defensive side. But I know you want to talk about a few guys on the offensive side, because they've got a lot of weapons.
Well, no, I mean it's very valid to bring up somebody like James Pantemis, because you saw what Brad Stuver was able to do against the Galaxy and how he was able to frustrate the Galaxy. So a good keeper can, save the game. I mean, Michaela said it. He doesn't believe that Austin should have won that game, but in the different variations of this game, the Galaxy, they lived in the reality where they lost the one out of the 99 games that they play. So yeah, man. I mean, James Pantemis can be that danger man, but offensively, you're right. This team scores at a very, very high clip. I mean, they're very efficient. A midfielder winger is one of their most productive players at the moment. Anthony has 4 goals and 2 assists. New DP David Acosta is settling in quite nicely. He's producing for his teammates 3 assists, and he also has 1 goal to go along with that. That's a lovely free kick that he scored earlier this year. Something Moreno is a player that we've covered on this pod quite a couple times. Big admirers of him at his pace and his delivery. 2 assists, 1 goal. He did score in Portland's 3-2 loss versus the Galaxy last year. We already spoke about Felipe Mora. He scored in the first fixture this year. He scored last year against the Galaxy in the 4-2 Portland win. And right now he has 4 goals and 2 assists. So he's joint top scorer and joint most productive, along with Anthony. Kevin Kelsey also chipping in 3 goals. A man that we spoke about already, coming back for Portland, but very, very dangerous. The left winger, Jonathan Rodriguez, he had 16 goals and 5 assists in 33 matches played last year, and he scored against the Galaxy in both fixtures that they played against each other last year. So this is a very multifaceted attack. If Phil Neville decides to go with Santi Moreno on one wing, Felipe Mora at the top, and David DaCosta on the other wing, then he still has Jonathan Rodriguez in to bring off the bench. He still has Kevin Kelsey to bring off the bench. It's an attack that has a lot of weapons, and the Galaxy, they well, I guess I'll just end it like this. Chat, go ahead and let us know what the Galaxy need to do to get a win in this one. For the Galaxy to win this match, they have to ... For the Galaxy to win this match, they have to ... Because I was about to say, for the Galaxy to win this match, Ananda, the defense needs to play a very, very clean game against a very, very good and clinical offense. This team is not Portland. That is not known for their defense, like you mentioned. The defensive stats aren't great. The goal difference is just +3. However, they are scoring in bunches. So the Galaxy defense, whether it's Zanka and Garces or whether it's Zavaleta and Garces, tienen que ser trucha, man.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, and I'm gonna, I guess, add to that point with, for me, very similarly, the Galaxy need to. It's almost like they need to reverse the trend of these high-scoring matches that the Galaxy and Portland have played, and they need to keep the score down, because the Galaxy have shown this year a lack of attacking ability and just being inept, right, on that side of the ball. So I don't see a 3 or 4 goal output from the Galaxy, and so that means that we need to keep 3 or 4 out of the back of our own net, right? And against this Portland team, so I think that'll be interesting tactically. Going to this game, what does Vanny do there? We're at home, and so we want to be the dominant home team. We want to be the dominant in possession team. But then do you open yourselves up to a transition moment where Phil Neville, as you pointed out on the preview, just towards the top there, and one of your stats, you said that they've been limited to being effective in the transition, right? And that's where they're going to be the most dangerous. So does Vanny say, you know what, let's just go with the 4-2-3-1. Let's have 2 DMs there sitting. Let's attack with our front 4 and pick our moments and spots where we bring our fullbacks into the fold and really, have that dominant territorial possession, or do we? So it's going to be interesting, right? It's like it's going to be interesting how we flow through this game. But it's pretty clear that this, as you rightly said, Portland scores in bunches. We need to keep the score down to have a chance, because we've shown an inability to score on the other end.
It's not only on the defensive side, right? But the Galaxy need to do very, very well at keeping the ball. They can't make mistakes of playing bad passes or giving this ball away. We've spoken about it on this pod a bunch of times. The burden of possession, right? The Galaxy are known as a possession team, but with that comes the responsibility of taking care of the ball and not losing it, because then teams can hit you in the transition. And then when you have a team like the Portland Timbers that is very, very good at transition moments, then yeah, you're kind of screwed there. You lose the ball against Portland in the final third, they're gonna punish you.
That makes me think he might select Sanabria, Rob, in that double pivot with Serio instead of Parente, who's a guy that's a little bit more forward-looking, right? But he's a little more, I guess he's less combative, right? You might want to just put at Serio and Sanabria and just tell them, guys, just protect the back 4, protect against transitions. Because if there's one thing that Lucas has shown this year that he can do, is he can put a challenge in. He can win the ball in good areas of the pitch. So maybe just talking this out loud, he might opt for Sanabria and just play a 4-2-3-1 there and just protect the back 4, because like you said, this team is deadly on the transition.
Chat, do us a favor, be good lads and lasses, and start dropping those score predictions in the chat and let us know what you think this one is going to end at. I went first last time, so Ananda will go first this time. But before he does,
but I'll go first anyways.
But before he does, he will go ahead and bring us betting odds brought to us by Dr. Raquinho and also by Ananda Computing Labs?
Yeah, so I actually put an extra one in here, guys, but really quick. So the
Ooh.
win probability, Galaxy had a minus 118. That's 54%. Not great. I mean, a little bit more than half as the home team, and then Portland plus 325% win probability. I put this extra one in there as well because you look at the sort of the head to head. So Galaxy's first team to score is at a minus 187. So that's
Oh
around like
no.
60, maybe 60 some percent. No goals at a plus 1400. So that's like a huge. That's we're not expecting a 0-0. That would be a big surprise on this one. Portland Timbers plus 150 to score first, so that's not terrible either. I think that's pretty high. It's like in the 40% or something like that. But we talked about this again. You look at if you're thinking about scoreline, you look at the head-to-head streaks in the past. Rob brought a little bit of it up, but this is just crystallize it. No clean sheet in the last 4. Both teams have scored in 9 of the last 10, and Portland's been the first to score 5 out of 7. Right. So, I mean, look, the bookies are probably saying that there's going to be goals in this game. We'll see how many goals. I think I saw like, in between 2.5, the over under 2.5, something like that. That's kind of where it is in terms of match goals, 2.5, 3.5. So maybe 3 goals in this game, right? So a 2-1 either way. But again, those are just those are what the AI is telling you. But football's played on the pitch, and we'll see how this game plays out. But again, this game could go many different ways. But what
Save
the
your
Galaxy need
prediction.
to do is keep the scoreline down. That's for sure.
Okay, save your prediction because we have a couple of answers for fill in the blank. For the Galaxy to win this match, they have to. Tranquilito says to win this match, they need to remember to be tranquilo. Simon, eso es todo for sure. And then the one and only CEO was kind of on the same wavelength. The Galaxy needs to stay calm and not waste vital opportunities. Michele alluded to it. Ananda brought it up as well. The pressure that this team is starting to feel over not getting these wins is starting to affect the simple things on the pitch. Like we've already seen Gabriel Peck miss sitters that last year he wouldn't have missed. Anyway, Ananda, it's that time. Go ahead and drop your game prediction.
Yeah, well, I'm not going first because chat always goes first, Rob, and that's always the
Let's
correct answer.
go.
So we do have a couple predictions in chat. Tranquilito says Galaxy 2-1. Rocio with a narrow 1-0 victory. Man, if the first
Clean
clean
sheet.
sheet of the season would be ideal at this moment, but I'm
I
not
think
seeing that happening.
I think Greg would be more hype about the clean sheet than the actual win. It's like the clean sheet would be like massive.
Yeah, I think he'd be hype on a 0-0. I'm not even gonna lie. Because that's going to show some resilience and that's going to show just an ability to manage a game. And if it's one of those 0-0s where we get, over 1 xg and we create a couple big chances and we just fluff our lines, okay, all right, like I'll live with that, and that confidence can be gained throughout the training pitch. But if we make no mistakes and we play a clean game, that's always the operative word, is clean. I think he'll be happy with that, especially shutting down a high-powered Portland team. But I don't see it happening, Papa, and this is totally a heart pick, but I'm gonna go with probably like a 2-1 Galaxy win. This is totally a heart pick, and this is probably reversing the trend because my head pick is probably like a 3-2, 3-1 Galaxy loss. That's just based off trends, right? And that's just based off of what we're seeing. But of course, football is not always played on paper. Football is how two teams come out. Which version of the Galaxy are we going to see? Which version of Portland are we going to see? If we play a game like that 1-1 in Portland, I think that's going to be a good starting point. And then you just build off of that. So again, this is us speaking out loud on this pod, but this is giving me pause to say, maybe Greg will just go for a double pivot with Sergio and Sanabria, be defensively sound, guard against the transition because we know how deadly they are in transition. He's going to tell Mickey, maybe this probably also reasons that John Nelson might start in that left back just to give a little bit more defensive stability, and he might tell his fullbacks, look, you attack and you put numbers forward when in spurts, right? Not all the time, and just pick and choose your moments. If we have a good offensive possession and the ball's moving quick, okay, maybe we send an extra number in attack. But that's just pure speculation on my part, because I think that's the only way that we're going to win this game. If we take the ball out of our net 2, 3, 4 times, we're not winning this game. We have no chance in this game, because we can't play like we did last year. So 2-1, but that's super hard pick, because the head pick would say it's likely a Galaxy loss just based off of the trends.
Yeah, I'm kind of sitting where you are. Heart says Galaxy win 2-1. Head says that a tie is a net positive at this point, just because the defense hasn't really been playing these clean games. However, that just means that the offense doesn't put their chances away or doesn't create, one or the other. But yeah, I mean, I've been wrong too many times this year, so I'm loath to actually just keep picking wrong. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you a head pick, which is the Galaxy lose 2-1, and then a heart pick, which is the Galaxy win 2-1. And geez, I hope that I'm wrong and with that head pick, you know.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of where the odds are as well. But again, game's not played on paper. It's just going to be really interesting to see, what Galaxy team shows up, and sort of we talked about you talked about this with Michele as well in terms of adjustments, right? What's Vanny going to do? He's got to do something. Whether that's a tweak in the personnel, maybe a slight tweak in the tactical system, something to get our guys involved, and hopefully we get. I mean, a hot start would be good in terms of us scoring first, getting an early goal, seeing the ball go in the back of the net. That's something that we haven't seen, Rob, this year. And I forgot whose comment it was. I think it was a tweet. I think it was Tucker's. He said that, I mean, there's not been a Galaxy game worth watching this year. And that says something as well in terms of entertainment value.
Yeah, well, we have our predictions, and I think that pretty much wraps us up for tonight, Ananda. Next on La Cuna Galaxiana, on Monday, April 28th, we'll bring you our Galaxy versus Portland reaction and everything you need to know from that match. And then a week from today, on Thursday, May 1st, we'll preview the Galaxy versus SKC, aka the Day on Revenge tour, for the match happening on Sunday, May 4th. Ananda, I know you always like to leave last word to chat. I actually have a last word tweet that I have separated as well. So Joseph Painstill coming out and saying, things might not be perfect as you want it to be, but with time, patience, and faith, God will make a way beautiful and a success for you. Just trust the process when you know you have God. So Joseph trying to give words of encouragement. Obviously, the players are feeling what Galaxy fans are feeling. And it's kind of nice that Joseph kind of acknowledging that and trying to give fans a lift. Ananda, I know, like I said, you like to give chat last word, so hit it.
Yep, I started a couple of the comments here, just a couple of queries, and maybe we might address this on future shows. But also, if the team finished dead last this season, should the team stay with Vanny or let him go next season? Look, if they finish dead last, I think that's grounds for dismissal. There's no two ways about it, right? That's a pretty simple one there. But I saw in one of our YouTube comments, and by the way, guys, as you or anyone listening to this on playback, go ahead, and if you're not in the live chat, go ahead and leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section of the YouTube channel, or even on Spotify or Apple. We will respond to every one of them. And there's an interesting one from our last video, because we had this as a conversation topic, right, Rob, in terms of Vanny, and thinking about like one of the comments was if we're not going to have Greg around, should he be the guy looking at players, right, coming in and stuff. And I said, well, it's the thing is we've got to evaluate Greg on this. I feel like he's won MLS Cup, so he's earned the right to play the season out and dig himself out of this hole, right? And unfortunately, we can't make that distinction, or we can't, make those sort of have Greg be that influential or the influence in those signings. That can't really be said until you've finished out the season. So I think Greg's got to finish out the season because, like you said, like Carlos said, if he finishes team last, like if this team finishes last, I think that's clear grounds of dismissal for me. But if he makes a deep playoff run and gets in the playoffs, right? Of course. So I think we've just got to be patient on that one. I think Greg's probably earned in my opinion, anyways, he's probably earned the right to play out the season based off of him literally just winning MLS Cup a few months ago. So that's where I'm at with that one. But again, that's a TBD there. And then in a similar vein, XPH I asked Hammer this: if the results at midseason are not good enough, I'm sure Kuntz has been on the phone about potential moves. If the right name arises, do we shut down Riqui to make room? This is the conversation that you had with Michele, right, Rob?
Right. That's exactly right. I mean, at what point do you say, okay, we're starting to make a run, we're well positioned, but if we don't make a move right now, then we won't be able to make it. Yeah, exactly. Do they shut Riqui down? I mean, if the right name becomes available, it's going to be hard to know what that right name is. I mean, there's not going to be a lot of players available that are going to be easy for the Galaxy to get for the money. I mean, it's Ricky's a unicorn, man. Ricky's a unicorn. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, there's not a lot of players like him out there, even in world football. I mean, I'm not saying he's the best player on the world stage. I'm just saying like his particular skill set is very unique and apt for this Greg system. So
yeah, he's the most influential in terms of touches. He has the highest percentage of touches for their team, right? In the league. I mean, he's a guy that the ball goes to him. Like I mean, when you look at the stats, like he's from an influence perspective, from just a pure touches, how many touches he has a game, he's the most influential for their team. There's no doubt about it. Now here's an off the wall one I'll throw you at, Rob, and again, this is more food for thought, but I wonder if no matter what happens, whether we're in last place or whatever place we're in, that Riqui wants to play for his potential next contract. So do we not shut him down? I mean, do we let him play because he's thinking about his future as well, right? So, and he needs to play. He needs playing time to reassert himself in the market, reassert his value, right, to professional teams, whether that be the LA Galaxy or elsewhere. So that's another thing to think about as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they'll take all those things into consideration. I mean, not only where the team's at, but what Riqui wants to do. I mean, again, media availabilities tomorrow. Hopefully, Greg's been asked about Riqui a couple times, and each time he's kind of scoffed and said, that's just so far down the road. But with him actually being out there and
Right.
seeing him rehabbing, I mean, maybe he can give us a little bit more clarity on a timeline. I mean, it'd be killer if he were like, he's going to be training at the beginning of August. That's, we're about in May. That's only 3 months away. That there's still September and October left in the season. I mean, it's very possible to make a kind of run right there. But those are Will Kuntz type decisions. Thankfully, I don't have to make the decisions that brilliant man does. But anyway, Ananda, that's pretty much it for me, man. I think that wraps it up for us. You got anything else for these lovely people?
Just one thing left to say, right, Rob?
LA strong, vamos campeones, and Jesus.